Y'all, well, according to Politico, a leaked group chat for members of the Young Republicans organization contained countless examples of racism, sexism, homophobia, anti-Semitism, praise for Hitler, and more. And I think I speak for most of us when I say, what? No way, really? What's next? You're going to tell me Stephen Miller self-flagellates while pretending to be his mom? Surely not. Like, yeah, it's the least surprising story of all time. These guys say they were just joking around, and I kind of believe them, or at least I believe that they believe they were just joking around, but I still have some issues with that. One, as a comedian, it's not funny. These are the guys whose idea of humor is when someone mentions a black man, they go, oh, is he at the chicken store getting watermelon and Kool-Aid? And it's like, that's not really a joke. That's just saying racism and then laughing afterwards, but I know that y'all can't tell the difference. I know, so it's not just that. It's also that this is a very specific type of joking that these guys are doing. And to illustrate what I mean, I'd like to quote renowned St. Louis philosopher Cornell Nellie Haynes, who in his seminal treatise on excessive temperatures and the appropriate responses thereto, entitled Hot in Here, said, "Stop pacing, time's wasting. I got a friend with a pole in his basement. I'm just kidding like Jason, unless you're gonna do it." Right? Like, this is the type of joking you do when you're trying to gauge whether or not someone is on board with some shit that you don't want to just come right out and say. Like, you ever see stories about those couples that go on serial murdering sprees together, and you're like, how do these people find each other? Well, I think it starts with this type of joking around. They're on their third date, and the guy's like, wouldn't it be hilarious if we had a collection of human heads? That'd be crazy, right? I'm just kidding. Unless, you know. Yeah. And like, that's what these dudes are doing, but with low rent bigotry, you know. And look, these dudes are probably like 22 or something. I was an edgelord dipshit when I was 22. I mean, I wasn't a fascist bootlicker, but I made some jokes that were regrettable, you know. But when I was 22, I was, you know, snorting Xanax with Olive Garden bartenders. These guys are working on Senate campaigns. And that's the only reason it even matters at all. Like, if this was group chats from a bunch of construction workers, nobody would bat an eye. But politics are supposed to be different. And they used to be. There used to be some decorum in American politics, or at least the illusion of it. Ask Howard Dean, right? But this is the trashy, classless, post-Trump political world we're all forced to inhabit now, and it's these people's fault, whether they'll admit it or not. There's some mainstream Republicans adjacent to this story, like Elise Stefanik and Roger Stone, who immediately disavowed these guys and said there's no place for that sort of thing in the Republican Party. It's like, isn't there, though? I mean, isn't the Republican Party kind of like the definitive place for exactly that sort of thing? Like, it's like they say, like, not every Republican loves Hitler, but everyone who loves Hitler is absolutely a Republican. So, like, if you are at all serious about not wanting that type of element in your party, then you're going to need to make some changes, guys. Pretty fundamental ones. Maybe start completely over, in fact. But something tells me you're probably not going to do that, are you? Yeah, that's what we thought. All right.
Remember they busted a senator in the Minneapolis airport? It was a little while back. They had a whole sting operation. It was called To Catch a Senator. And they got one. It didn't even take too long. But basically how it worked is that you go in the men's room, and then you go into one of the stalls, and then you poke your foot under the side to the next stall, and that's a sign that you know, need a blowjob or whatever makes you fly better, you know. All right. All I'm saying, guys, I fly a lot, and I'm like, well, how far? I gotta get my leg under here. Two stalls over. No takers, no takers. All I get is pissed off dudes like, here's some toilet paper, fuck off. Fucking magic.
I'm gonna say my opinion, but I don't want to hear no shit. Because when Trayvon Martin got killed, white people had fucking jokes. You know what I mean? Y'all had I Can Breathe shirts, so nigga, here goes my version tonight. I'm gonna be honest, when Charlie Kirk got shot, I think I speak for every black person in the room when we was like, who the fuck is Charlie Kirk? We were just living our black lives, minding our black business. And we just heard a whole bunch of white people fucking screaming like, our leader! No! Our leader! Black people was like, your leader? What happened? Because black people, we like this. We want to grieve too. Like, what's up? What's up? So then we saw the video. Pow! We was like, oh shit! Somebody wanted that nigga dead. And black people know the way you get murdered, we can tell the intention behind it. When you get popped like that, black people's like, oh, what the oh shit. Oh, we still don't know who Charlie is. We just can't take our eyes off the video. We just watched it, I watched it 100 times. Yeah, pow, yeah, pow. I was like, shit. White people going crazy, oh my God! So now I gotta research who the fuck Charlie is.
Wake up, grab a brush and put a little makeup. Hide the scars to fade away. Hide the scars to fade away. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? Here you go, create another fable. You wanted to grab a brush and put a little makeup. You wanted to hide the scars to fade away with a shaker. You wanted to. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to. I don't think you trust in my self-righteous suicide. I cry when niggas deserve to die. In my self-righteous suicide, I cry when niggas deserve to die. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit.
I thought I was in church.
Father, into your hands. Why have you forsaken me? In your eyes forsaken me.
I don't remember this hymn during the offertory.
In your heart forsaken me. Oh, trust in my
I would have definitely done this as a music special.
I cry when niggas deserve to die. In my self-righteous suicide, I cry when niggas deserve to die.
Well, who says AI is all bad? That right there is AI done correctly. Taking a song and reformatting it into another genre, as in 70s disco. That is correct. Anyway, good morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on what part of the globe you are on and what time zone you are in. I am skeptically speaking, I think.
And I'm Sweet Pea from across the pond.
And what a show we have for you today. If you want more independent media in your life, please consider supporting the show, Cash App, Venmo, or become a Patreon subscriber. Links will be down in the description. Please like and comment on the video. Share and subscribe. We'd prefer that as well. I mean, it's amazing that the comedy bits that I just selected at random actually fit the theme of the show, Overton Window. I couldn't have arranged that even if I tried. It just so happened, as it were. How are you, Sweet Pea?
I'm doing much better. My throat, I can finally talk again. How are you doing?
Protecting my neck. Anyway, as the song says, protect your neck. Now,
There's a lot of left leaning with that.
you know, we try to be on the cusp of cutting edge
Get it?
news. I got it. And so we try. It's not gonna always be fun and games, but some days
No.
it's just some days it be like that.
We laugh not to cry.
Yeah. No shit. Oh, people haven't grasped the simple fact. I'm always amazed. People say, well, I'm not political. I don't get into politics. It's like, my dear brother, sister, they, them, and Christ. Listen, fuckface. Every decision you make is politically influenced, whether you deem yourself political or not. Every decision in your life is made, influenced by politics. And what is politics? Politics is the affairs of the city or the country. We don't live in city-states anymore. But people just don't get it, And that bespeaks of a certain privilege, shall we say, to where you think that you're untouched by politics. It's like, whatever, man.
Politics is in everything. Politics is in everything that we do today.
Yeah.
When you wash in the mornings, when you brush your teeth, when you use the water, there was politics played in getting that water supply to your house. When you wash your clothes, when you buy groceries, some form of politics was played in making sure that the grocery stores were stocked with food for you to buy.
Yep.
Same with clothing, the same with your technology, with everything that we say and do. Politics plays a huge part of who we are as a society, and I don't think most people realize how big a thing politics is a part of, the interwoven structure that we have built.
Mm-hmm.
It's in music, it's in books, it's in films, it's it's in the coffee we make, it's in the food we make.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like we're listening, but are we? It's like, I don't know. So goofy. But anyway, you found us on YouTube. You can also find us on TikTok, Blue Sky, Discord, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, Kick, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, and now Substack. Thank you so much for tuning in and not tuning out. By the way, we do advertise for the well-read black girl on TikTok who was doxxed by a digital white supremacist lynch mob, and she lost her job, so we will be posting her Give, Send, Go in the description as well. So please consider giving to her as well. I gotta remember to make that announcement so that way people are aware of it. Anyway, so moving on, let's get into Overton Window, what it is, what we mean. I mean, the first time I remember hearing about the Overton Window was basically on MSNBC. You've got Joy Reid, who's no longer there, Nicole Wallace. Rachel Maddow is the show where I can remember hearing it. I'm sure I've heard it before, I just don't remember. But Overton Window, that's where I first heard it. I can remember hearing about it. So let's get into it. So the basic concept of the Overton Window is a once niche academic political science concept, has been a key concept used to explain the rise of Donald Trump, Brexiteers, and it's important to understand how the winds of political discourse change. What is the Overton Window? The definition and explanation is thus follows. The Overton Window of political possibility is the range of ideas the public is willing to consider and accept. So basically, it's almost like the pendulum. You know how we talk? I know the pendulum, analogy. It swings right and left, but the Overton window breaks it down to specifics. In the United States, the idea of different race mixing in public or women's suffrage was once considered fringe and extreme policies. That they're now deemed common sense reflects progress in the shifting of the Overton window. So basically, it's the frame of politics and ideas. A politician seeking to maximize their chances of re-election should determine where the Overton window for key policy issues is via public opinion polls and other means so that they can successfully campaign on those ideas. Yes and no. I mean, I understand the wisdom of trying to get as many voters and supporters as you possibly can. At the same time, what if the Overton window is extreme right wing? Is that how you are going to adjust your beliefs and your policies that you're willing to bring forward? Careful. Public officials cannot enact any policy they please, like they're ordering dessert from a menu. They have to choose from among the policies that are politically acceptable at the time. And we believe the Overton window defines the range of ideas. This is Joseph Lehman, a colleague of Joseph Overton, who developed the idea after Overton died, explained in an interview with the New York Times. So how do you shift the Overton window? Most common misconception is that lawmakers themselves are in the business of shifting the Overton window. That's absolutely false. Lawmakers are actually in the business of detecting where the window is and then moving to be in accordance with it. I can already tell you right now, I would be a very unsuccessful politician because I'm sorry. I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. If politicians must locate the window, think tanks and social movements must shift the Overton window to succeed in their advocacy. They must convince voters that policies outside the window should be in it. Do you break or budge the window? Now, Overton, who was the senior vice president of Mackinac Center for Public Policy, a free market libertarian think tank, contended that pushing for extreme positions is more effective at changing public opinion. However, there are multiple approaches to shifting the status quo. For example, similar to the foot in the door technique used in sales, one could advocate for small but gradually larger shifts in a policy. There's the concept of pulling the rope sideways. Another strategy is to try to avoid playing a game of political tug and war altogether. As economist Robin Hanson puts it, pull the rope sideways. Instead of joining a side and pulling on the rope of the Overton window, pull it sideways in a direction no one will resist. For example, instead of trying to push for increase or decrease in the overall tax rate, an area that gets a lot of resistance from both sides, a strategy of pulling the rope sideways would involve aiming to increase the effectiveness with which it is spent. The social good from spending might be a consideration that is both more neglected, but also more tactable and easier to see changes in because both parties would prefer to see it spent more effectively. Pursuing neglected and tractable policy changes could be a route to finding more socially valuable ideas. How to most effectively produce social change remains an open question requiring empirical evidence, and the answer might depend on the specific case being examined. So here are a few examples, maybe. The Overton window shifting historically includes women's suffrage, abolishing of slavery, the growing acceptance of IVF, in vitro fertilization, to more contemporary examples like, let's say, universal health care, gay marriage, and animal welfare. Now, support in the United States for same-sex marriage has catapulted into the Overton window of not just political possibility, but legal feasibility, being now legal in all 50 states. Now, the right-wing Republicans are shifting that Overton window by banning it. They want to ban it outright. Democrat support same-sex marriage has grown 50 percentage points from 33 to 83 since 1996, the most among political party groups. And this graph goes all the way to 2019, and you can see it start to dip down. I hate this timeline. Now, the growing acceptance of IVF, fucking God, I can't believe this is even a problem. Social and political change happens only incrementally for the vast majority of the time, equilibrium, but with interspersed periods of rapid change or so-called punctuated equilibrium. Many factors can cause these large equilibrium shifts to alter public attitudes towards a subject. A technical feasibility is one of them. So let's say embryo selection for cognitive enhancement. Public attitude towards in vitro fertilization dramatically increased as technological feasibility went from merely a theoretical to widespread availability. Only 18% of Americans said they would personally use IVF in 1970 when it was not widely available to 53% in 2003. The expanding moral circle concerns for animal welfare. Peter Singer has explored in more detail in his book, The Expanding Circle. Our concern for others is gradually expanding beyond ourselves and our family to include others from our nation and increasingly people overseas and non-human animals. A Gallup poll has shown support for animal rights has grown since 2008. Say you want to advance the plight of animal welfare in our society. Make the case for currently unthinkable ideas. Advocate for smaller incremental changes, like more humane conditions for chickens on farms. In animal welfare cases, this is hotly debated. From welfarism to straight up abolitionism. Another possibility is that the best strategy is a mix between two that creates an equilibrium. The stronger and radical pulling on the Overton, the greater the incentive for smaller, more incremental pulling. Did you get any of that? So, I mean, I guess I understand what they're saying, but I don't think these people even remotely had Trump on the radar. So, yeah, go ahead.
Isn't life all about a little push and pull? All right, I'll be quiet now.
The fact that it was, the Overton window was first put forth in the 1990s by Joseph Overton, a libertarian political scientist. So this tells me, I'm sorry, but libertarianism comes straight out of the billionaire class. It is straight up billionaire talk. But at least he had that. I mean, what he proposed is somewhat sound. I mean, it doesn't account for conspiracy theories that have Peter Singer, yeah. Or Singer.
He has a book. Yeah, He has a book. The Expanding Circle.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Just making sure that I got the right guy. I was just like...
Yep, that's him. Now, critics of the Overton window challenge its theory of change and its inability to explain the phenomenon of eroding moderate center. Now, according to the Overton window, there's always the moderate center. And Overton developed the idea of what he called a window of political possibility while he was a fellow for public policy. up in Midland, Michigan, that favors limited government and free markets. So again, this is straight out of the billionaire playbook. You have a government so limited and so small that it can't hold these corporations in check. A committed libertarian, Overton came to the Mackinac Center after pursuing a career as an electrical engineer and project manager for Dow Chemical Company. Now, you want to talk about a company that needed heavy regulation, that's one of them. After switching gears to support Mackinac's mission, he managed the think tank's financial and construction matters while earning a law degree on the side, and later worked on policy center research and writing. Overton ascended to the post of senior vice president at the Mackinac Center, but perished when an ultralight plane that he was piloting crashed in Cairo, Michigan in 2003. So he hadn't even put his model. It was a friend of his, Joseph Lehman, one of his colleagues who knew his work, talked about him through his work, actually put his ideas at the forefront. It was still a developing concept. But, I mean, it's grown in popularity, but, you know, especially in libertarian policy circles. The model was posthumously termed the Overton Window. In 2010, conservative political commentator Glenn Beck published a political thriller novel, or the novel entitled The Overton Window, that further propelled the idea toward popular awareness. Starting in 2016, during the first term of U.S. President Donald Trump, the discussion of the Overton Window expanded from far-right libertarian conservative thinkers into mainstream political conversation. So we know how it works. So we don't need to rehash that. Now, another example is prohibition, for the prevention of the sale, manufacture, and transportation of alcoholic beverages in the United States. That was from 1920 to 1933. Damn, 13 years. Prohibition was a widely popular stance in the early 20th century, save for candidates to endorse, leading to the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution enacting prohibition. It explains why so many politicians were only happy to violate the 18th Amendment, and some of them were actually active in the bootlegger trade.
They just wanted to make money off people. That's why they prohibited people.
Well, I mean, they drank in the privacy of their own homes. It wasn't like they didn't even agree with the law. They were just happy to get votes. So, and they're like, well, might as well make money. Some of them actually owned and operated special stills that never seemed to get raided by the police ever. That's amazing.
Probably bought and paid for.
Oh, yeah. Police were on the payroll. Many examples of the Overton Window is the abolition of chattel slavery. It wasn't initially mainstream, but it's now predominantly unquestioned. Women's suffrage, we've talked about that. There's also discrimination, same-sex marriages, we've talked about that. Another example is the Brexit. A steady stream of disinformation and preying upon the idiocy and lack of knowledge. See, that is the perfect hotbed for supporters. If you are right wing and fascist, the more stupid the populace is, the easier they are to control. So it's just amazing to me. And that should tell you, But what I like about what certain politicians who have had these core values, they didn't just become or adopt them, But they had these core values from the start. Come to find out, there were enough people in this country that value the same things. It's all about finding your people. You know, Overton argued that coherently supporting a fringe idea might slowly move radical ideas into the mainstream. Oh, no shit. A steady stream of disinformation, conspiracy theories, and pretty soon a huge majority of the populace is anti-vax. I remember being an anti-vaxxer, and one of the things I think back on is there was a comfort that knowing that the majority of the batshit things that you believed in, they were on the fringe. They were never fully accepted in the mainstream. And here I am getting out of conspiracy theory land, and then all of these people are just diving face first into it. And I'm like, how in the name of fuck? But you have the internet to thank for that. Critics of the Overton Window point out that the theory reinforces the idea of moderate center, meaning the perception that most of the population falls in the middle of the current liberal conservative spectrum. Common illustration of the idea of the window uses the game of football. Yeah, I don't think so. Horrible analogy, but that's all right. Maybe, you know what? In Overton's day, that may have been true. But in the 1990s and 80s, 40s, 50s, and 60s maybe, but no. Vietnam and the trust of government going to an all-time low. Laura Marsh in The New Republic said that the Overton Window's unified perspective of a palatable public policy does not reflect contemporary reality. And she's right. Instead, she suggested that there are two Overton windows on either side of the political spectrum. Okay, that makes sense. Two Overton windows, possibly three now. The full Overton window no longer exists in U.S. political scene. The Overton window is ultimately the name of what we have lost, not an indication of where we are headed. Its popularity today represents a powerful nostalgia for the center. But yeah, there is no center. The only people in the center are people that have checked out of politics. They're not even paying attention. So you've got the extreme right, which is the most uneducated, most uninformed people. You got the far left. And then those in the middle, that would be people that just don't give a fuck. The Overton window is the range of subjects and arguments politically acceptable to the mainstream population at any given time. Yeah, like I said, I think that what's her name? Let me scroll down. I think she's correct, and I like her example better. Let me see if I can pull her name up. Laura Marsh. Let me see if I can pull it up. 2016. I hope it's still here. The flaws of the Overton window theory. You know what? Let's read that. I'm going to include this in the show notes for you to read later. Oh no, if you have anything to add, please do. Okay. All right. Boom. It's going to be in the description. So you got Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump pulling at the Overton window. There are by now more than a few theories about the rise of Donald Trump and how views long considered too extreme for national politics earned him the Republican nomination for president. But perhaps no concept appears to explain this process as neatly as the Overton window. Best known until recently as the title of an overheated political thriller by Glenn Beck. In the last year, the Overton window has been cited everywhere from the New York Times to the Rachel Maddow show. That's where I heard it. Despite its peculiar origins and limited applications, pundits increasingly invoke it to describe not only Trumpism, but the Sanders surge, Brexit. The Overton window refers to the range of policies. Okay, we know that. We're not going to get into we're just going to skip that part of Trump's candidacy, many liberal commentators have suggested, exemplifies Overton's strategy by floating extreme policies, build a wall on the Mexican border. How did that work out? Ban Muslims from the United States. How did that work out? Has seemingly forced public debate sharply to the right. Meanwhile, the resurgence of socialist politics embodied by Bernie Sanders, and god damn it, we stop with the socialist politics. Bernie Sanders is just left of center. He is not socialist. The best Bernie Sanders gets is social democrat. That's it. The British politician Jeremy Corbyn, as well as the passage of right-to-work laws in several states, increasing restrictions on abortions, and UK's referendum on EU membership are said to fit the same pattern. Rachel Maddow devoted a segment to the Overton window before her interview with Sanders last December, explaining how he could shift the consensus leftward. After the jolt of Brexit, John Lancaster began his 5,000-word lament in the London Review of Books with a primer on the concept. It's easy to see why the Overton window holds such appeal. For one thing, it offers a universal theory of change in an age of polarization and fracture. While Trump and the UK Independence Party pull right, Sanders and the Corbyn pull left. Overton's concept suggests that the mechanism of change is the same. For another thing, it is the virtue of simplicity. Overton did little more than repackage the basic negotiating principle that if you ask for a lot, you will likely get more than if you ask for a little. And although the window offers a theory of change, its central element, the window itself, actually describes the norm from which reality has deviated. Zenip Tufekci worries in the New York Times that Trump voices truths outside of the Overton window. The fuck? Voices truths? What truths are those? I'd like to know. See, the New York fucking Times. My God. Normalizing fascism since Hitler and before. Great job, guys. While the British writer Sam Leith speculates that Corbyn may have positioned his party dangerously far from the center of the Overton window, the window serves as shorthand for erstwhile consensus. Viewing politics through the Overton window reinforces liberal notions about the moderate center, even as the center ground erodes. For conservatives, by contrast, the Overton window has always been about strategy. Though Overton himself never committed his most influential idea to paper, we got that. We read all about it. The concept did not reach wider audience, however, until Glenn Beck and his stupid book. The villain of Beck's tale is Arthur Gardner, an aging PR guru who plots to use the Overton window to foist his own objectives, criminalizing dissent, reinforcing dependence and collectivism. Oh, fuck off. Oh, Atlas Shrugged. Go fuck yourself. On an unsuspecting and gullible public. Wow, you just described the Trump supporters. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. In his afterword, Beck urges readers to watch out for manipulation in their own lives. Glenn Beck literally worked for Fox or Faux News. I'm not even gonna. I should stop using the word news in Fox. But okay. So basically, his own his own audience. He manipulated his own audience. But be careful. Watch out for manipulation in your own life. While Beck shared Overton's libertarian ideology, he was wary of the window as a strategy for change, imagining a totalitarian left that could hijack it. Its elitist overtones also stuck in his craw. An early champion of the Tea Party, Beck preferred to extol the power of the American people, whereas Overton largely sought to influence policymaking from the top down by educating lawmakers and the public. At one point in his novel, Beck takes a veiled swipe at the somewhat otherworldly Mackinac Center, which was founded on an island in Lake Huron. Arthur Gardner's son boasts that his father stole the concept of the Overton Window from a think tank in the Midwest. God damn. Beck's novel met with disapproval from the libertarian policy wonks. Joe Overton deserves better. But that's okay. We put a false extreme on both ends. No kidding. Why does this man get a dinner? This is perhaps the Overton Window's biggest drawbacks as a theory for change. It tells us more about the handful of activists who supposedly moved the window from the voters whose opinions actually change. While Trump has certainly lowered the standard of debate on the right, he didn't have to move the consensus rightward. He played to a block of voters who already found his proposals desirable. Sanders, too, connected with bottom-up movements such as the Fight for 15 and Occupy Wall Street. To chalk up his success to shock tactics is to ignore the long-simmering populism. It is impossible to understand what drives these movements without engaging with the economic and cultural circumstances that underpin them. The more divided we become, the harder it is to locate the Overton window, let alone move it. There is now a window of policies that are acceptable to the Republican base and another for the Democrats. But on the national level, there's no window. Instead of a consensus edging one way or the other, we have a choice between two poles. The Overton window is ultimately a name for what we have lost, not an indication of where we are headed. Its popularity today represents a powerful nostalgia for the center. Huh. Yeah. Yep. So there it is, folks. The Overton window. I kind of slightly grasped what it was, but I'm very glad that I looked into it. Actually looked into it so we can learn from it. But yeah, Joe Overton had no fucking idea how far his libertarian beliefs would go. Yeah, it's just it's amazing to me. Amazing to me how far skewed we are. It's like there's no way, there's no way to actually tell where we're headed. I mean, everything is in flux. You've got a lot of resistance. You've got a lot of, it's just unbelievable. We're kind of in flux. We're in chaos. It's really hard to know where we're going. Any thoughts?
Right, yeah. So the library doesn't have any books on the Overton window to read over. And I just had to beg him to let me back in. I got myself locked out of the room.
It's okay. Glad you made it
Highly
back.
embarrassing. Me too. I was panicking for a while, and then he said there's an automatic lock on it, apparently, so nobody can actually get in.
That's good.
So that means that I cannot run off for anywhere without my stuff, because otherwise it'll be locked in, yeah.
Put a book and hold the door open with that book at the bottom. Is there a door stop?
No, but I got an umbrella.
No. Well, you could use that. Anyway, let's move on. So that we're learning our way forward. I love it. Jamie Lee we're going to go into the random segment where we're just going to talk about random shit. Jamie Lee Curtis recently kind of bumblefucked her way through an interview. She's clearing up comments she made about conservative activist Charlie Kirk following his assassination. She says, they were a little mistranslated. And I'm like, were they? 2 days after Kirk's death, Curtis was on the WTF with Mark Maron, where she tearfully said she disagreed Kirk, but praised him for being a man of faith. What the fuck? Number one. What faith? Faith in what? A God? What God did he have faith in? Was he the same as yours, Jamie? I'm going to bring something up with you just because it's front of mind. I disagree with him on almost every point I ever heard him say, but I believe he was a man of faith. Based on what? And I hope in the moment that he died that he felt connected to his faith. Why? Even though his ideas were abhorrent to me, I still believe he's a father and a husband. So what? And I hope whatever connection to God means that he felt it. I think he just felt a bullet in his neck. I mean, she says, an excerpt of it mistranslated what I was saying as I wished him well. I was talking about him in a positive way, which I wasn't. I was simply talking about his faith in God. Why would you even bring that up? The guy was a rip-roaring racist piece of shit. Were his beliefs influenced by his faith? So what good was his faith then? In the binary world today, you cannot hold two ideas at the same time. When do you hold two opposing ideas at the same time? Unless you're considering them. I cannot be Jewish and totally believe in Israel's right to exist at the same time reject the destruction of Gaza, she told the publication. What the fuck? I cannot be Jewish and totally believe in Israel's right to exist and at the same time reject the destruction of Gaza. What the fuck? Yes, the fuck you can. No one is debating Israel's right to exist. We're debating Palestinians' right to exist. What in the entire goddamn fuck? Just stop speaking. Put the shovel down. Put the shovel down.
Are we talking about the same Jamie Lee Curtis who starred in Halloween?
Yes.
The very same Jamie Lee
Yes.
Curtis who has a transgender child. Why is she even sticking up for Kirk? He is the very person that is going after transgender children. He is the very person who wants to harm transgender children and transgender people. Why?
She says, I can't say that because you get vilified for having a mind that says I can hold both those thoughts. No one is vilifying you for saying Israel has a right to exist and Gaza shouldn't be bombed to the fucking Stone Age. There's nothing contradictory in those two statements. Those are not two opposing ideas. Here's an opposing idea. Israel is a democracy and Israel is protecting itself. Those are two false statements, actually. I believe, here it is. I believe Palestine I believe Palestinians have a right to exist, and I also support Israel's destruction of Gaza. There you go. Those are two opposing ideas. Anyway. You get vilified, Jamie, by saying stupid shit. This is stupid shit. Yeah, I'll even include this article.
Yeah, I have no words on how she can say that about a man.
Oh, I just hope he felt his connection with God.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Fuck his God. How about that?
He done so much harm during his lifetime with the sort of misinformation and hatred that he was spewing out. I don't understand why she would say that, especially considering she has a trans child, knowing that he purposely went out of his way to hurt trans people. What is her line of thinking? I don't get it.
I mean, I get it. This is what happens when you have lived a privileged life where nothing Kirk says affects you in any way. You get to have stupid, shitty opinions like this. You know, it's like, well, you know, I can mourn him because, you know, his actions didn't affect me. His racism didn't affect me and mine. So it's okay. I mean, this...
But she's dumb. She's dumb. It will affect her child.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, her child.
Yeah. I was just going to make the argument that if her child stays in the business and stays in the top %, maybe not, but I don't know. Oh, did you hear about the new... go ahead. Finish your thought.
What she doesn't seem to realize is once those people up the top have completely finished destroying us, the working class, they're going to be coming for the ones up there with them. That's what she's neglecting to realize. This affects all of us. All of us.
I mean, this is why people say Hollywood people are just so out of touch.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they are.
It's like they're so divorced from, you know, the reality, the day to day. It's like they're in a whole nother world. It's like the billionaire class, same thing.
Because at the moment,
they're not touched by our infirmities, as it were.
Yeah.
There's a biblical colloquialism for you.
Her child is living in a bubble at the moment, but as soon as she steps out into the real world on her own, everything that Charlie and the rest of them have done, that is going to have a negative effect on them out in the real world when they're not in this protected little bubble that them, you know, their mother has created.
Yep, shifting gears. Did you know that Elon Musk has launched Grokipedia? Yeah, it's a Wikipedia based on his AI chatbot called Grok. Where AI gets the last word.
And is it just as like
I don't know. I've not been on it.
I haven't been on it either.
Here's what he has said. Elon Musk has finally launched his AI-powered, truth-focused answer to Wikipedia. Oh, his truth-focused answer of Wikipedia, because he doesn't like that Wikipedia speaks the truth and reveals him for the piece of shit that he is. So his fix to that is Grokipedia. Amid the ongoing beef with the incumbent platform over its editorial practices. In a series of, because they don't let him get on his profile to edit his Wikipedia. Only people who have a high standard, who have been vetted, only a certain group of people are allowed to edit Wikipedia now. Because it used to be a wild west of information. Anybody could change anything at any time. So they locked it down to make it more uniform, to make it more consistent. So that way you didn't have conflicting this, that, and the other thing. Yeah.
I'm still in shock. I mean, the bot is like his little AI bot on like Twitter, and I refuse to call it sort of. I'd rather call it excrement. His little bot on
Grok?
Yeah, his Grok AI on excrement.
What's funny is he gets fact checked. Grok has fact checked a number of right wing fuckwits, including Elon Musk himself. He says that Grokipedia is going to be fully open source, so anyone can use it for anything at no cost, and that its goal is to truth the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Dumbass. We will never be perfect, but we shall nevertheless strive towards that goal. One ex-user already noticed a difference between the articles about George Floyd. There we go. An African-American who a Florida police officer killed during their arrest. The user noticed that the first paragraph of the Grokipedia article highlighting Floyd's extended criminal record, while the Wikipedia article emphasizes that he was killed by a white police officer, which is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So Dylan Loomis noted the difference between the two paragraphs. The nuance and detail on Grokipedia is far superior to Wikipedia, and it's clearly not pushing any ideologies, unlike Wikipedia. Corrections like this are, and then it doesn't. It trails off.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, what they do is they bring up, they want to bring George Floyd's, his past drug use, so that you automatically think, oh, he deserved to be killed by the police. Isn't that ironic?
There was a tox screen done. There was not enough. There was not enough drugs in his system. What happened? The cause of death was Eric Chauvin's knee preventing oxygen from going to his brain and lungs, preventing him being able to breathe. That is what killed.
The service has been pushed back a few days as Musk halted the launch to purge out the propaganda on Grokipedia. Why are you purging out the propaganda on your own site? It reportedly crashed temporarily after launch before promptly coming back online. At the time of writing, the site is fully functional. I don't really care. And claims to host over 885,000 articles so far. Like, who gives a fuck? The details are still sparse on the specific processes behind Grokipedia. At first glance, its AI integrations mark quite a different structure, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Let's see. Grok's AI appears to take the lead in dictating and moderating content on the platform. Oh, what could go wrong? While Wikipedia relies on a blend of editorial volunteers and automated tools. Musk explain. Oh, I don't care what he explains.
They need to correct that, and they need to put in George Floyd died because Eric Chauvin sort of asphyxiated him for 9 minutes. That was Chauvin murdered George.
I mean, this guy, doesn't he have cars to sell? I mean, every time I read about Tesla, it's slumping sales. They're not meeting their goals, this, that, and the other thing. And here he is. He's got a failed social media platform. And
his cars are not selling.
Well, they are, but not enough.
Did you hear about the teenagers that got trapped in the car?
Oh, some more people
crashed.
got trapped in a Tesla. Nice.
Yeah, teenagers on their way either to or back from college. They were going somewhere. The car crashed due to a faulty lock system because the car had caught fire. They couldn't get out of the Tesla.
Oops.
While it was burning.
How many people have to die before the government says, you know what,
It's
maybe
horrific.
the Tesla car is just not that great? When will we learn? Will we ever learn? Who knows? Well, anyway, that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for sticking it out. And thank you for learning with us. The Overton Window.
Yes.
Don't forget. We'll see you guys all next week. Don't forget, if you'd like more independent media in your life, please consider supporting the show through PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, and become a subscriber on Patreon. We'd love to have your patronage.
Mm-hmm. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And we love reading your comments on YouTube. We will answer you once we see them. We appreciate you all, and thank you for your support.
And with that, we say good night.
Wake up, grab a brush and put a little makeup. Hide the scars to fade away. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? Here you go, create another fable. You wanted to grab a brush and put a little makeup. You wanted to hide the scars to fade away the shake-up. You wanted to. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to. I don't think you trust in my self-righteous suicide. I cry when angels deserve to die. In my self-righteous suicide, I cry when angels deserve to die. I commend my spirit, Father, into your hands. Why have you forsaken me?